anyway, I'm on Brit anyway. I'm off of Kandi. So yeah, Brit looks amazing. And the crazy thing is, the reunion aired, and Brit was the major topic of discussion. Brit was first, and the first thing everybody talked about. They showed everybody getting ready for the reunion. They showed everybody getting dressed, and they showed Phaedra looking for Brit. Like, where is Brit? I don't understand. Brit's room is empty. It was planned clearly because I'm sure they knew Brit wasn't coming after she served them that lawsuit on the exact same day that the reunion was filming. But I'm digressing. And then we get to see, Porsha was in there asleep with her wig on the table. Again, listen, when you gonna come to work and then just go to sleep immediately? Like, where is glam? I don't understand that. They had the lights off and everything. So Porsha, Phaedra went into Porsha's room, and then they started talking about Brit not being there. Why is she not here? I don't understand. I talked to her yesterday. She not showing up. No, she not here. So again, they started off with Brit. Hold on, let me pull up my notes so I can get ready to read this reunion. Y'all like this video, please and thank you. And before I get started, put in the chat what you think the reunion rated. 10 being the best, 1 being the worst. Would you give it a 10 or would you give it a 1 for part 1 of the reunion? Let me know in the chat. Let me put y'all stuff up here because I ain't gonna be able to see it right away. Okay. See, all right. Some of y'all said a 2, a 7. Okay, Paige gave it a 7. Some people gave it a 7, a 6. Okay. Some people didn't watch it yet. Okay. They definitely knew Brit wasn't coming to their reunion. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Because remember when we read the lawsuit, we found out that Brit did not even see the pictures that she was alleging was her until she filed the lawsuit, or until, after she reviewed them last couple of episodes of the show. Then she had been asking all season for the evidence of the pictures. And then when they finally showed it to her, it wasn't her, allegedly, according to her lawsuit. So that's even worse. Now you got me feeling all the brunt of the heat. All the people on the internet coming in my DMs, calling me a whore. You got Angela Oakley saying I'm a whore and I suck zick. Okay. You got all these people saying all this nasty, derogatory things about me as a woman. I can only imagine the hurt that she felt with all of the online bullying. And it takes a very strong person to deal with online bullying. Trust me, I know. Okay. But yeah, so apparently, she found out and she decided to file a lawsuit. Now, is she arbitrating? Is she meeting? I don't know. But according to the people on the internet, Brit's name is still on the list of attendees for BravoCon. So I don't know. Maybe she'll be back. Who knows? Who knows? But Brit said she chose her, honey. So of course, Brit's no show dominated the reunion. Okay. Uh Crazy thing is, they showed her chair and her chair was empty. Why they showed that empty chair like that? Hold on, let me send it to myself. Why they showed this empty chair? Look like my patio furniture. What is this? What is this, honey? Is this supposed to be Grenada? What is this? They didn't put no effort into this set design. They went to Home Goods. They went to Home Depot. They went. Where did they go to get these ugly ass pillows? But anyway, they showed this when they showed Brit. They was like, Brit is a no-show. Brit won't be here. And so everybody was like, oh my God, Brit's not here. They was acting like they just found out, but everybody knew that Brit wasn't there, child. Everybody knew. And because everybody knew, it was interesting that they turned to Kelly first to ask Kelly what she thought about Brit not being there. And here go Kelly talk about she caused mass destruction in their friend group. Kelly, you wasn't even in the friend group. Both of y'all came in at the same time. So how she caused mass destruction? What was the mass destruction that Brit caused? Was it getting Kenya kicked off the show? Like that's what I, gathered from the entire scenario, is that once Kenya had to face repercussions of her actions, it seemed like everybody was upset because they were dependent on Kenya to hold up the show this season. I guess. I don't know. But yeah, Kenya did it to herself. Kenya decided to expose whatever the pictures were, if they were Brit, if they weren't Brit. She decided to defame that lady, call her an insurance fraud hoe. She decided to do all that because Brit mentioned a pow pow. And all y'all team twirl who keep talking about Brit should have been reprimanded too. And for why? Why should Brit have been reprimanded? Brit didn't pull out the gun. Brit didn't run up on her. Brit didn't do a thing. So anyway, I'm digressing. You said Kelly is a mean girl. Kelly is a flopper. Okay, throughout this entire season, Kelly was originally supposed to be Brit's BFF, and then you saw it. The tides turned slowly. As soon as people got mad at Brit for getting when Kenya got the boot, all of a sudden, Kelly didn't want to be associated with that. She was like the employee that don't want to hang around the other employee who got in trouble because it might rub off on you. So she was like, my name Wes, I ain't in that mess. Let me go over here with Shamia, okay? And so that's exactly what Kelly did. She did not. She was talking about Brit didn't stand up for her in her time of need during her divorce and all that. But in essence, she never stood up for Brit when Brit was facing all the criticism about how much she gave, how much she donated in Grenada. You did not hear Kelly saying, "Oh no, that's not right. She gave what she can," or it's not appropriate to judge anybody's donations. People give from the heart. She didn't do that, but Phaedra did. So I didn't like that. That was supposed to be your friend. I don't want to skip a thing, honey. What y'all saying? You said I still don't like Kelly. That awful looking husband and all those kids and the personality she gives just doesn't add up. Oh, Kelly is just loud. And I think Kelly is loud because she's small. And a lot of small people, it's like, like short men have Napoleon syndrome. I think women have that too. I think that Kelly is so little and she can be overlooked. And I feel like she feels like she has to project her voice in order to be seen. But it was interesting how she also talked about Brit not being there for hold on, what else? Hold on. Like, why would you fall out with somebody over a stylist? I mean, people pay stylists. Stylists go where they are paid. Now Porsha is using a stylist. Is she gonna fall out with Porsha too? It's interesting. I don't know. But speaking of that, since they was talking about Brit not being there, Drew revealed that Brit had threatened to sue her as well. Because if you recall, shout out to No Chaser TV. Drew went over there to No Chaser TV on the interview and basically was saying that that it was Brit in the picture, and she was regurgitating a lot of rumors that it was Young Berg and a whole bunch of other stuff. So Brit said she was suing Drew for defamation related to that not safe for work photo. Okay, so I mean, I'm like, Drew, what did Drew give Kenya the pictures? Like, why was Drew all in the middle of that? Why was Drew's friend slash assistant Anthony all on the neighborhood talking about it was Young Berg in the pictures? Why were all of these things happening? I don't understand. Okay, but it was interesting. Now, as you know, Brit's legal action follows the fallout with Kenya more, and it's they barely mention Kenya. Y'all keep talking about Kenya should have been there, honey. Bravo said I ain't touching that mess, not right now anyway, because maybe they're touching it episode 2 or 3. But they left they left Kenya out there. We really didn't care about Kenya too much or why she did any of that. So all we know is Kenya was suspended and not invited, okay, and allegedly fired. And since that time, Brit has officially announced her departure. So for me, it looks like Brit chose to walk and Kenya did not choose to walk. Okay. You said Brit is the real undercover mean girl. I don't know. Drew's dress was a train wreck. Her dress wasn't cute now, but it was the curl in the front of her head to me. What was that curl doing? What was that little curl doing right here? Y'all remember when Tyler Perry used to do them plays back in the day, and they used to have the microphones in their wig, and it used to be right here. That's what I thought it was. I'm like, why does Drew have that little curl? Who did Drew's wig? I don't understand. But again, I'm digressing. Shamia led the group in an on-camera prayer with Andy and the women and described everything as an unprecedented reunion open. What described as an unprecedented reunion open? Why did I write that? I don't know. I guess people are saying that that's the calm before the storm was Shamia leading them in prayer. And anyway, Andy comes back and he immediately pounces into Kelly's financial situation. I found it interesting as well because, yeah, I mean, Kelly owing her credit cards and stuff. I didn't think that was newsworthy, but apparently Andy did. Andy was grilling her about them finances, grilling her about the 100,000 rent lawsuit. I wonder if Kandi was there, would he grill Kandi about that 200,000 lawsuit that she got against Blaze Steak and Seafood? Or would Kandi say that that's off limits? I'm digressing because all them lawsuits that Kandi have been in, they have never brought it up on camera the way they did Kelly. They did Kelly wrong, honey, but they did it. Okay. So Andy was asking her about the $100,000 lawsuit for the restaurant. And according to her, it was delayed due to her divorce. And Andy said, why haven't you paid it? And it was like, why haven't you paid it? I'd be like, because I ain't got it, bitch. What do you mean? Why haven't I paid it? But in essence, that's kind of what she said, because she was like, I got 200,000 in legal fees. It's like, girl, like, but still, why haven't you paid it? You can do all this. You can get your dog facials. You can, you can buy your daughter hundreds of thousands of dollars in purses, allegedly, unless they was from the flea market. You can do all these things, but why you can't pay this bill? Okay, that's what I got from Andy. You said they did her wrong, and 200K is light for a housewife. She could pay that off with her check next season. Allegedly, she probably wasn't even making that this season, child. I don't know if she's gonna be making 200 next season, but because when they start, they little check be low. It is when your dog have an esthetician, okay? Excuse me. Now you're right, Andy stays messy. Now Kelly was explaining the delay in repayment due to her messy divorce, which was interesting because then Porsha started acting like her and Kelly had something in common. And I found that interesting as well, because how does Porsha and Kelly have something in common when Kelly was married? Like Kelly said, I was married for 11 years. You was married for 11 months. We are not the same, honey. We are not the same. But anyway, Porsha opened up about her divorce, saying, of course she didn't call ICE because she was saying, it wouldn't benefit me to call ICE. Girl, yes, it would benefit you to call ICE, because Simon was on the phone. Simon was on the Instagram. Simon was sending cease and desist. Simon was on your ASS. It did benefit you, okay? By having him detained and deported, you knew where he was at all times. You didn't have to worry about nobody pulling up to the house. You didn't have to worry about nobody allegedly hopping in your Rolls Royce while it was at the restaurant and pulling off. You didn't have to worry about none of that if he was detained. So yes, it did benefit you. It gave you a little bit of peace of mind in the midst of this messy divorce. Now, she also it was interesting too, because the whole situation with Porsha and Simon, like, to me, it was never addressed during the show. Of course, Kelly said, you stole that woman's husband, but I mean, did she steal the woman's husband? Because then it got to the point was, who introduced you? Did Shamia originally? Shamia was accused of introducing her to Simon, but then Portia's alleged storyline was that she crawled into Simon's DMs and said, how he was doing during his divorce to Fallon. Now, personally, I know for a fact that she's known Simon much longer than any of than that season, because like I told y'all before, Simon owned clubs in Atlanta. Okay, Simon was a club owner. Simon used to own Buckhead Bottle Bar. He owned Time Restaurant over there on Juniper Street, which used to be Ludacris's Straits restaurant. Okay, he owned that other club. I forgot the name of it over there. But yeah, he owned about a couple of nightclubs, and he was partners with a couple of people in a couple of nightclubs. I don't know if they was washing money. I don't know what they was doing. I ain't gonna do that. I ain't gonna do that man like that. But yeah, he was always in the nightclub scene. So yes, Porsha knew Simon, and Dennis knew Simon, and Shamia knew Simon, and Shamia's husband knew Simon. Everybody knew Simon. I knew Simon. We used to go drinking. Simon would buy all the drinks. I've said it time and time and time again. I'm probably the only blogger that'll tell you that Simon was the one who asked Porsha to introduce Fallon as a friend on the show. Okay, like, it is what it is. This is what happened. So yeah, so Porsha did have some responsibility. I know y'all be like, well, Fallon was pregnant, and Fallon was this, and Fallon was doing that, and I can probably agree with you. But like I said, there are no innocent victims. Porsha isn't innocent in this situation. Simon isn't innocent, and neither is Fallon. But Porsha said when they was dragging her on the set about the Simon situation, she said, I took him and I gave him back. So she finally admitted that she took that man. She finally admitted it. For once, she halfway told the truth, and then she, went on to the next subject. She was like, okay, moving on. Moving on. Now that I admitted it, let's move past this subject. Okay. Um, Shamia, as you could tell, she was trying to stay out of it because she was like, did I introduce? I can't remember. It's been so long ago. But yeah, I don't know that she actually introduced Porsha if they met at the same time at the club. Who knows? But Porsha definitely knew Simon well before any of that situation. Now Drew actually even tried to get her little lick back, okay, and she was like, her little Simon says a little shade she was throwing, because apparently Porsha was using Drew because of the drama with Simon. She didn't want to address the drama with Simon. She could not address the drama with Simon because they were in pending litigation. So it was really like she was tiptoeing over everything. He had sent NBC a cease and desist. She couldn't film in the house all season. Only thing she could do was film outside the house. So what did she do? I think her and Drew were in an alliance. And they started talking about an alliance a little bit later. But I feel like her and Drew were in an alliance, and they decided that they would, beat this season. Okay, Drew was going through whatever she was going through with Ralph that nobody believed about him being in the basement. Porsha was going through what she was going through with Simon, and so how should we deflect? We'll deflect by having Dennis run back and forth between the middle of us. Okay, you could be mad that Dennis is filming with me, and Dennis can work on my album. Hey, win-win for everybody, and that's exactly what happened. And the reason I think that it was all planned by Porsha and Drew is because of the way Porsha just stood up in the middle of the conversation and walked over to Drew and hugged her. Like, okay, let's let this go too. There's no need to deep dive into this. We know what it is. Okay, it's over. The season is over. Thank you, friend. We made it through. Let me go sit down. But I don't know if Drew is out of the woods yet, because Drew was way down there at the end of the couch. Okay, Drew was hanging on by a thread. Drew barely even made it in the camera frame. Drew was way over here. So it's like, why is Drew way over there, and Porsha and Phaedra sitting over here on this couch? Like, what the hell? I didn't understand that for nothing. Like, they could have rearranged temporarily until the other people came out. Like, I know Brit was a no-show, but dang, did they? They had to put four people on the couch over there and two over here. Like, that couch was all. If one more person was on that couch would have been leaning to the left. There was so many people on the couch. I bet Drew's hips was hanging off the edge. And then Porsha and Phaedra with her My Little Mermaid outfit was sitting there. I don't understand. Like, Andy was trying to make it seem like it was the OGs and the newbies. Like, Phaedra and Porsha was the OGs, but then he got Shamia, he has Kelly, he has Angela, and he has Drew. Drew's not a newbie, so why was she over there? I don't understand. That didn't make sense. So it's giving me, Drew, you on your way out. You in danger. that's what it's giving me. So you said you were thinking that too. You said Drew was hanging on by a thread. I did not understand. You said they was bringing up stuff that didn't even make it in the season. They had to, child. Like, how they gonna make 3 reunions? Like, literally, they had to spend 20 minutes watching the people get out their Ubers and come in with their clothes. They had to spend all this time. Since when do we need all of that? We don't need all of that. So they spent 20 minutes of the reunion doing that. So clearly, it's not much content. You said everybody is tired of Drew and them lies, child. You think Drew was the star of this episode? Ooh, girl, child, Anthony. Leave it to Anthony to come in here and try to drag me, honey. But anyway, moving on. Now, as far as the Porsha and Drew reconciliation, Porsha admitted that, she met Shamia and Ralph at the restaurant to get her lick back, which we already knew that. They was acting like it was just coincidental that Porsha pulled up to the restaurant while Ralph and Shamia were talking about a podcast. Child, we knew what it was when we saw it, child. It was so just lackluster and overproduced, but it is what it is. That No Chaser interview, I already talked about that, but yeah, during the No Chaser interview with Drew also talked about Porsha, and she was saying that Porsha's appearance this season was a flop. Okay, and I mean, where's the lie? It was a flop at that time. Porsha couldn't film in the house. Porsha couldn't do nothing. Porsha want to argue. Porsha want to break the fourth wall and talk to Drew about filming with Dennis, even though they just filming songs. I mean, just recording songs. Porsha was talking about some text where Dennis said that he didn't want to fuck Drew, and it's like, girl, they didn't even mean what you said it meant. Like, I don't understand. Like, these women, most of these women are over 40 and they have no kind of reading comprehension skills. It's like everything that somebody else says, they bring it back and they flip it, and it's like they flip it so bad that it's like, girl, anybody on the outside looking in knows that that's not what that meant. Okay, if he says that he didn't want to fuck Drew, that meant he didn't want to fuck her over. He didn't want to like overcharge her. He wasn't trying to take advantage of her. That's what that meant. It didn't mean that, Porsha. And I understand Porsha is Miss 265. I understand that Porsha is the person who didn't know what the Underground Railroad is. Maybe she did think that's what it meant, but it's clearly not what it meant. Okay. What else my notes say? What else did my notes say? And now it's Angela versus Phaedra. Honey, Phaedra wasn't even there for 10 days, honey. And Angela's trying to set up. It's a scheme set up by Todd to come to us with the BS. Okay. Now, we've been talking about this over on my channel for quite some time. Shout out to Alex. I don't know Marcus, but I do I have, talked to Alex. I actually went to dinner with Alex Hines. He was one of the two people who was involved in that scheme, that whole situation with the June bug and stuff. None of that makes sense. Like, even rewatching the finale episode, like, if they saw Charles Oakley in a restaurant with a woman, okay, let's just say that that's true, just because. Okay, if they brought that information to Angela, what was the necessity to meet Junebug with an envelope? What was in the envelope? What was Junebug giving you? Because if you saw him and you got the film, the tape, I don't understand. And who is Junebug? And why do we care? Like, I don't understand. This whole story is stupid. It is contrived. It is. When did Phaedra become the godfather of Atlanta? I'm still not over the Godfather. Okay. In addition to that, okay, it's since been revealed, and they didn't talk about this on the reunion because all of this is coming out after reunion. That Angela been strong arming them people, honey. Angela been sending security to the restaurant to get them to change their story. Marcus has come out and said that it's not Phaedra, and he felt bad for even saying it was Phaedra. Alex has taken up for Marcus and said that, Marcus signed an NDA, and that's the reason why, he's speaking out on his behalf. So y'all go over there on TikTok and follow Alex Hines and get all the story times 1 through 5. Okay. But I'm just amazed that during this reunion, Angela pulls out this alleged folder. Well, it's not alleged. She pulled out the folder, the manila folder. She got all these receipts. She got pictures. She got screenshots of Facebook. She got Barbara, who is Marcus's aunt, is went to school with Phaedra's oldest brother, and she got a little flow chart, and she's trying to make stuff work, and it's still not making sense to me. Because I understand that Athens is a small town. I understand that. But it still doesn't make sense that the lady being classmates with Phaedra's brother back in 1985 would have something to do with Marcus at the restaurant in 2025 seeing Charles Oakley with a woman sitting there eating jerk chicken. I'm still confused as to how this all makes sense. Angela's looking real stupid right now. Angela's looking real stupid. Then on the heels of that, Angela just the other day was on live talking about she got a YouTube channel and she got Charles sitting up there looking like a hostage. And she telling everybody that, you know, he love her. Like, tell him you love me. Tell him you know what I wore to the wedding. Tell him you know. It's like, girl, like, why do you have to prove this? If everything is great in your marriage, you do not have to come to social media and or the Real Housewives of Atlanta and to prove it. Like, I just feel like I understand it's a show. I understand we need to be entertained. But Angela, I feel like, you know, she felt some kind of way because they started outing stuff that they know about her husband, which is what they do to all the husbands. They did it to Peter, they did it to Greg, they did it to Apollo, they did it to Todd, they did it to Cordell. That's what they do. Angela, have you not seen the 16 years of this show? Did you not know that if you are married to a basketball player who is allegedly connected to a former housewife, Aisha Ray Whitfield? Did you not think that the producers were gonna try to pull some okie doke? Like, I knew that some okie doke was gonna be pulled, and it's so unfortunate that people have to put their marriage up for grabs like that. Okay. But Angela pulling out them receipts, it was just bad. Because my thing is, she kind of flipped it to where instead of it being, was Charles in the restaurant with the woman? Okay, like the game of Clue. You know, who had the candlestick in the oven? Okay, was Charles in the restaurant with the woman? Instead of it focusing on that, it turned into who sent the people to tell her that Charles was in the restaurant with the woman. So now it's like, take all the heat off of Charles and put it all on whoever sent the people to tell her that Charles was in the restaurant with the woman. She could have shut it down when she said that Charles was out of town coaching the Big Four or whatever it is she said he was, and just left it at that. And then, but then we wouldn't have nothing to talk about. So, but yeah, it was interesting that she even brought that up. Okay. Phaedra has gone on to say that she was set up. She's gone on several platforms to say she was set up. She went on The View to say she was set up. And I kind of believe she was set up. And now that y'all say she gonna be on Kandi show, maybe she was set up. Maybe Kandi set her up, child. Is Kandi over there pulling strings from outside the club? Is that what's happening? I don't know. You know, Kandi does have an in for Phaedra now. I don't know. And does Angela really believe that it's Phaedra? Because I'm trying to be on Angela's side because I know she's the fan favorite, right? I'm trying to be like considerate, like, well, maybe since Angela, you know, she sent me that DM saying it was a rookie mistake. Maybe her rookie mistake was falling for the okie doke that it was Phaedra. I don't know. Moving on. Like this video, please. Thank you. Now, of course, that exchange between Angela and Phaedra, it was still unresolved, and I guess we're gonna get a part 2 of that. But another thing I forgot to mention was the mention of alliances. I found that interesting because you remember the first mention of alliances came from Nene Leakes back in the day when Nene was accusing people of being in alliances to take her down. You remember that back when Cynthia brought a pregnant Kenya to the season finale, and then Nene accused them of being in an alliance. Okay, because what they was trying to do was get a reaction from Nene and all of that. Yeah, and then it went on and on and on, and then the next season, they was trying to get Porsha to be a part of the alliance against Nene, and everybody was fighting against Nene because you know you're always the target when you that bitch, right? So apparently now the newbies was in some sort of alliance, and Porsha was claiming that Brit, you know, she had talked to Brit, and Brit had told her that the newbies was in an alliance, and then Shamia had to chime in and say that, you know, of course they talked about, you know, being in some sort of alliance, and it was gonna be Brit and Kelly and Shamia, and she said that Porsha was in it. Now, I love Shamia. I think Shamia is great, but I think Shamia is lying. I don't know that Porsha would have been in the alliance. I think that the alliance that Porsha was in was with Kenya, and when Kenya was gone, Porsha wasn't with nobody. And I think that Angela and Drew were in an alliance. Okay, because remember, Angela kept saying, my, my Chi-Town friend, my Chi-Town girl, we both from Chi-Town, wherever they from. And so, Angela had Drew's back. Drew had Angela's back. Originally Kelly and Brit had each other's back, but then Kelly dumped Brit, and nobody had Brit's back. And then Brit went over there to Porsha. Then it was Brit, Porsha, and Cynthia until Phaedra came. So yeah, it's all alliances. But it's crazy that Porsha sat on that couch and said that she would never be in a part of an alliance because alliance ruins shows. I'm like, girl, you must know that alliances ruin shows, because when Nene, when the stuff happened with Nene, it totally ruined the show. Like, the show hasn't been the same since. The ratings haven't been the same since. Remember Kandi being a part of that alliance? Y'all know alliances are horrible. But anyway, we'll see what happens in part 2. We'll see Porsha get into it with Shamia next, and their dynamic of their friendship. What's gonna happen? That's all I got. I tried to say as much as I could with my crazy notes. Portia felt like the alliances were against her, but I wouldn't understand why an alliance would be against Portia when she didn't really have nothing going on to fight against, to take down. Portia was already, facing obstacles. So yeah, I think that whatever alliance was formed toward the end ended up being against Phaedra. So I think it was Angela and Drew against Phaedra, because remember, in that finale episode, Angela and Drew ended up meeting with Alex and Mark. Yeah, just a mess, honey. It's a messy mess.